Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Crush It in Sales podcast. And thank you so much for joining me. My name is Melinda Van Fleet, and I'm a sales, strategy, and success coach for business women. I am very excited to record this podcast. It is actually, I'm going to say, a part 2 of episode 127, and I'm reading this because I can never remember my titles. Best tips to record and self-publish your audiobook. So when I recorded that episode, if you have already listened, you may remember that I mentioned that I was looking into putting my audiobooks, both Confidence Mastery for Couples and Life and Love Lessons, on another platform that would feed to librofm, which goes out to other platforms and also feeds to independent bookstores. So at the time of that recording, I was in the process of doing the research. And so I didn't want to share too much because I thought also too, it would make a good part 2. And I don't like my podcast to be that long. We're all busy, right? So I've done a little bit of research and it's been eye-opening. So I'm sharing this today for those of you out there that are in this lane and are considering, what should I do? What's the best options? What does this look like? And I'm sharing this without judgment. So I'm going to kind of share two sides of the coin. And I'm also sharing it from the point of view of where I'm at right now. Does that mean that I might not change or shift someday? No, I'm always open to, changing my mind, changing my perspective, shifting and pivoting. And if you know me and follow me, you know that that's one of my things I always do. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's good. I think it's better than someone who's like just very black and white and not open to ideas. So when I started down this path to get on libro.fm, it initially started with a conversation with a local bookstore here in the Keys that is brand new. It's a great bookstore called Sandbar Books. So if you have not been to that bookstore and you live in the Keys, especially the Upper Keys, please, please, please visit it. Both of my books are there, and Becky is amazing. I interviewed her for the paper for the Upper Keys Weekly, and she's just a sweetheart and has done an amazing job. So she had asked me if I was going to put my books on libro.fm because that is what a lot of independent bookstores are now featuring on their websites as an option for their clients. And at first I was like, all game. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's fantastic. I will definitely look into that. And as I've been working with my client, Binnaby, which is a children's bilingual interactive book line. It's amazing, binnaby.co. I've been noticing that, yes, a lot of these independent bookstores have a part of their website, an image that is for libro.fm. If you click on it, you can get into the platform. So again, I was super excited. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is going to be great. My books will get out more and I'll make more money. Because again, if you listened to that podcast, I share with you that the average cost to record an audiobook professionally, whether you use your voice or you have a narrator, is about $3,000. So it is not an inexpensive $100 thing. And if you do it yourself using your computer at home, it's going to be time, and you leave yourself open for issues that could become a headache. So for me, money over time any day. And so when I had also loaded my book to ACX, which feeds to Audible, which is where my books are now, I learned, no one had ever told me this, but I learned that you do not set the price for an Audible book. You do not set that price. So it's not like when you're in Ingram, Spark, or Amazon, KDP, you set the price of your books. You do not have that option with an Audible. They set the price depending on the price of your books in conjunction with how long your Audible book is. So my Audible books aren't very expensive. I think they're like $5, $4. So after Amazon takes a cut and ACX takes a cut, like I'm not making lots of money here, people. I'm just going to be really transparent. And I want to be transparent in this podcast so people know, because that's the thing. No one knows all of this information. So I've learned. So I'm not even close to breaking even on the $3,000 for the Audible book. I consider it a long game. Will I ever break even? I really don't think so. So when I started to look into librofm, I then learned that you have to load your book onto another platform called Authors Central. Okay. So I go to Authors Central and I start the process. And it's a process. You have to fill this out. You have to fill that out. And I go to finally load the files, and my file gets rejected. And if you know anything about Audible books and loading, each piece of the book is a separate file. It's not just one big file. So each chapter's a file, the introduction's the file, there's a closing, there's all the pieces. They're all files. So let's say on average, your book may have 20 files. So I go to load file 1 and it's rejected. The file size doesn't match what Author Central requires. So then I email my Elite Music in Miami where the book was recorded. And she's like, oh, I think you can just change the file. I'm like, oh, okay. So then I go back and then I have to email Author Central and ask them. And they're like, yes, you just have to go into Audacity and redo the file. Oh my goodness. As someone who is excellent with time management and really guards my time, that would be me. I'm like, are you kidding me? I have to go into Audacity, another platform, yes, another platform, and redo each of these files. I have to convert them. That's the word I'm looking for. Convert them, each of these files, 20 files per book. I'm like, oh my gosh, no way. I had to take a deep breath and I had to walk away. Because if I'm going to do one book, I'm going to do both books. So then I started going into Google and hrefs. If you don't know what hrefs is, it's an SEO tool that we use. And I started to research and what information people are looking for Audible and audiobooks is where can I find it for free? Yes, that is what is most searched. Where can I find an Audible book for free? So I'm starting to do the math here. See, people? Starting to do the math. The cost of my book, the time to flip all these files around, and then, call me hypocrite, I am fully aware of the mindset of that customer because I also have Scribed. What is Scribed? Scribed is a platform where you can get unlimited content. Primarily for me, it's books on Audible, but you can also get books. Both my books are on Scribed, not on the Audible piece, but on the book piece. They must have pulled it through Ingram. And it's only $9.99 a month. So you can go onto Scribed, pay $9.99 a month, and download all the Audible books that your heart desires that happen to be on Scribed, right? So my Audible books are not on Scribed. However, I started to realize that if my Audible books get into Author Central and Libro, they're probably going to filter to a service like Scribed. I started to dig further. Ends up, there are a lot of these platforms out there. A lot of platforms similar to Scribed, where they're subscription-based audio platforms that are a low cost to entry if you're the customer, and you can get all the content that your heart desires. What does this mean? What does this mean for the book world? What does this mean for authors? For authors that are trying to make some money off their books. It's pretty harsh, right? Think about it. And like I said, I'm not trying to be a hypocrite. I'm just trying to be like a balanced point of view as a business person. I would like to make money off my books. I understand it's a long game. I get that. And yes, we're all helping people and sharing our word and serving. I totally get that too. Believe me, I get it. But it would be nice to make some money along the way. Money is a good thing. Everyone should like money. If you don't like money, you need to get a coach. So, what to do? I decided I'm just sticking with Audible. I am not going to spend the time to convert all these files. That does not serve me. I'm not going to hire a VA. I don't have a team. So that's not, a decision. If I had a big team and I could just ask like an assistant or someone, hey, can you do this? That would probably be a little different. But then again, where is this going? Where are these files going? They're going everywhere. I pulled up Scribed and I saw both my books. I certainly didn't put them on Scribed myself. I did not. All of this content is just getting filtered. My podcasts are on all these different platforms I've never even heard of. I know it's in Libsyn. I use Libsyn as my platform for podcasting. I know what boxes I've checked. But you can pull up Google and you'll see I'm on some other things. I've had people reach out to me like on LinkedIn, like, oh, I heard you on this platform. Well, I never even heard of that platform before. The only ones I really talk about are Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube, Apple, my website. So all of our content is getting shared on all these other platforms, and all these other platforms trying to make a buck, whether it's through a subscription service or through advertising, search, selling your name, who knows, right? Nowadays with your emails, like I have people in my email box, I'm like, I have never heard of you. Who are you? How did you get my email? And I talked to Libsyn about it, and they were like, yeah, it's kind of like public knowledge. Yep, you put it out there, that's what happens. That's what happens. That's what happens. So I'm sharing this if you're one of those people going, okay, I'm thinking about doing an Audible book. What does this look like? Do I make any money? I'm going to tell you that unless you're a huge, ginormous name, it's a loss leader. It's a loss leader. Do I have regrets? Absolutely not. I am so glad both my books are on Audible. I am so glad I did it right away. I have no regrets. But people need to be aware of this. That's the thing. So you can make an informed decision for what feels good for you. And that's what's not being talked about out there. So then you layer in all these different coaching services and these coaches and what they're promoting, right? Because they want to make a buck. And they're not always, number one, transparent, because again, they're trying to get your business. And number two, they aren't always even aware of all of this. I have worked with so many coaches, and when I ask some of these difficult questions, they're like, oh, I don't know. I don't know. They don't know. So they're selling things that they don't even know because they haven't firsthand done it or experienced it, or had a client like me that digs in and is like, what's going on? Like, does this really make sense? So a lot of these people don't even know. So again, hence why I'm sharing it. So I had something very interesting happen to me yesterday on Twitter, and I'm going to share this because this is an example of a coach who is selling her publishing services, let's say. And I saw this on Twitter. I saw her, and I'm going to read this. No names. No one will be able to figure this out. Unless you're listening, you happen to be that person. But this is with all due respect because people need to be aware. And I have the experience, and I really want to help people out there, especially if they're in a financial bind and they're trying to make an informed decision. What should I do? So this was the conversation on Twitter. So the coach tweets, Celebrating over 1,000 audiobook sales in less than 2 weeks with a wonderful author. Dream big, you can write, publish, and sell your books. Great. And then she tagged a company, and I pulled that up and looked at it, and I saw that it was one of these subscription services that I mentioned, similar to a Scribed. Again, I belong to Scribed, not saying anything bad. I get it. So I tweeted back, wow, how is the payout? So many of these audio services aren't charging, or it's a low fee. She responded, well, it's a 99-cent audiobook, so it's not a big moneymaker, but the quantity of sales does pay out and the exposure and reviews are fantastic. Also, the blank deal was free for the author at the time. Now there are fees, but they are low. Okay, exactly. So kind of transparent, right? But still, if you're really smart and you really think about it, what she's saying is that tweak that's happening out there in the land, right? That kind of messes with your mind, kind of like an NLP tweak, which I could go on and on about that. But it's that very like, well, the quantity of sales, okay, but if I'm only making 5 cents and it costs me $3,000, like what does that mean, right? So that's a question. The exposure, yeah, right? And the reviews, yeah. I have amazing reviews on my books. Both are perfect 5 stars. Do I get phone calls from people going, oh my gosh, I have to work with you because your reviews are so amazing? No. People are over-contented. There is way too much content out there. So unless you're looking for a fishing charter, like my husband's business, it is not the apples to apples in terms of what people are looking for, where they read reviews. It's not the same dynamic 75% of the time. Yes, you might find some people that are like, oh, I'm going to read all these reviews and see if I really want to buy this audiobook. Mostly you're connecting with the author. You heard it was a great book from a friend. You might have seen a post. You might be searching for something. It comes up and you're like, oh yeah, I really want to study this. There's other things that typically drive it before the reviews. See what I'm saying? Like that's not the driver versus like a fishing charter like we have. The reviews kind of drive that business more so than, let's say, a book. So you have to just kind of take that with a grain of salt. What she's saying, I'm not saying I disagree with. I'm just saying be more aware of it and take it more with like a grain of salt. And how do I feel about this, right? And you can still choose to do it. That's what I'm saying. Like I might change my mind, but right now my time is really important. And I don't feel like giving my books away all the time. Like I just really don't. So it's a no for me. It's a no. But I may change my mind in 10 years. I don't know. I got a long way to go. I'm sharing this so people make an informed decision because this information is not out there for people. They have no idea. All of this stuff is happening so fast. And the people that are only talking about it are the people that are trying to sell you something. So again, I hope this helps someone out there. I hope my transparency really lands in terms of just sharing the information and giving you an aspect to think about so you can make an informed decision on what feels good for you, what's a good use of your time, what's a good use of your money, your hard-earned money, and your content. People, your content is value. We need to realize that. We all give so much away for free, And that's okay, but just understand the differences so you can make informed decisions. So I'm going to leave this podcast there. I hope you liked it. And that's all I got. I'm going to wrap it up. If you wish to connect with me one-on-one, melinda@melindavanfleet.com. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram. And until next week, I hope you crush it in sales. Thanks for listening.